Yo, what is up? I'm gonna be doing a track breakdown of my song The Blur with the homie Ev Vinyls. The song is inspired by Empire of the Sun, The Spins with Mac Miller, or Empire of the Sun with Wiz Khalifa, The Thrill. Yeah, so let's jump right into it. I have the bass here. It's a very simple bass. I do have a Sam Smyers patch in there. Didn't really alter it too much aside from like maybe the sustain, the ADSR. So that's pretty simple. The decapitator's default. I adjusted a couple parameters on that. Um, yeah, on the EQ, I just felt like a very simple EQ. I felt like this section here around like the one to 200 range was kind of like a little like making it a little bit muddy. So I dipped it a little bit, added the kickstart, pretty simple kickstart here. You're nice and tight, and I have the utility going during the drop primarily just to kind of like give that emphasis on some of the notes during the drop, just so that way it kind of emphasize a little bit more on that like the drive and like that pump. Nothing else aside from that really. I did end up using a guitar sample that I really liked, and this is primarily what drives the entire song, right? So that's really, really catchy in my opinion. Um, During the verses, I did add like an EQ. I did also have like the track spacer, which ultimately acts like as if like a kickstart as well, or like a compressor with sidechaining just certain frequencies. So I adjusted this so that way the vocals didn't really clash with the guitar as well. So you could kind of see that my sidechain here is designated to the vocal channel. And once I did that, I did add like some of these synths here. This was another sample. You can see pretty much it's a real deep EQ cut here. Some auto filter just to kind of tame those highs again, not to clash with like the vocals. And I did put a lot of like delay, Valhalla, and like reverb as well, just to kind of like push it in the back. So again, it wasn't so distracting, but it was still present. Just kind of made the track a little bit more full. Yeah, same thing. Added like a little bit of the pan man, just to kind of keep that movement going. Same thing with the track spacer, just to allow those vocals to breathe again. Kickstart, once again, just to tame everything, like all the delays and all that reverb. And I added I added these chords here. So yeah, with the chords, same thing, kind of just EQ, delay, the reverb with Valhalla, Kickstarter again, once again, track spacer. Been loving that plugin. Yeah, and then with the drop chords, this is what I have. This is honestly one of my favorite parts. It's like a settle ear candy type of thing, and it only happens during this section here in the chorus. And that's honestly like one of my favorite parts. So if you're actually listening to it and you hear that, awesome, appreciate it. Yeah, aside from that, I just got some drum loops here. Very, very simple, just hi-hats, claps. These are the claps here, so just trying to add a little bit more of that whip in there, I guess. So pretty standard. And then another emphasis clap here, right here on the 8th bar. Other stuff, I got like a ride, some snare in there again, close hats, and then of course you do got to have a snare riser. And that's pretty much it for my drums. Yeah, let's move on to the sound effects. So really what you could do is you can hear that I have a downlifter turns into an uplifter. I typically put this in most of my production. It is like one of my favorite samples that I've collected. Pretty easy and simple. It kind of does the job for you. I do just obviously adjust as needed per measure and stuff like that. If I do want just a down filter, or if I want the uplifter as well. Um, yeah, and then once I just for like more transitional effects, I just have an impact, like a crash. I also do have a little sweep, again, just to kind of help out smooth that those transitions. And then I did create a clap pack here that I use pretty much in all my production. Um, so now if you hear any of my other stuff, you can definitely hear that. Um, I do have a couple like things in the beginning that I ended up doing just to kind of create that intro. This one was pretty easy. Just put some liquid, put some water into a solo cup with some ice, stirred it around, recorded it, called it good. The lighter flick, I've been trying to keep that into like my production some way somehow. So again, if you listen to more of my stuff, be on the lookout for that. Listen to it. Uh, yeah, and then with the vocals, not necessarily too much, especially during the verse vocals. Kept like the main vocals pretty dry. Um, so I just had like a vocal writer on there, a de-esser. I did have delay on it, but I did take that off just to make sure I didn't muddy anything up. And then I do have a glue compressor on there as well. Ad libs, pretty much the same thing: glue compressor, saturator, and a delay, just to tame everything and not make it so in your face. And then I also have a couple other like vocal snippets that I have here that have a little bit more of an effect on it. It's primarily just like a delay during certain sections, like this part here. So just to kind of create the emphasis on that certain lyric. But I did try to tame it a lot um, with automation, just to kind of control everything, just so that way it didn't sound or create too much mud within the mix. And then, yeah, during the build up here, I did create a vocal chop, just through an arpeggiator, chopped up some of threw in the vocals, utilize the slice mode here, have the kickstart, EQ, filter, all that jazz. This is what it kind of sounds like. And all I'm doing is I'm just trying to create that atmosphere and more of like that tension during the build. And again, I have it tucked in the background, so it's not so distracting, but it is there, so that way it kind of fills that space as well. So yeah, and then once I go into the chorus here, I did add more effects during the chorus. I just kind of felt like the chorus kind of needed it. It was actually my favorite part of the vocals. So I have same pretty much, or same concept pretty much, is the glue compressor, the EQ, the de-esser, and then what I did add is like the little altar boy, small chorus. I added some overdrive, this plugin fan. So I kind of just like tamed some of it with like the vibrato. I did the vibrato, changed up some of the notes or like frequency, whatever the case was. Went into Valhalla, adjusted some of the reverb there, and again kickstart just to tame that reverb, and then soothe. I just pretty much use like one of their presets to clean up a little vocal harshness. I did adjust the depth there, just to just so like all those effects didn't sound so harsh in the mix. At one point they did sound pretty bad until I added soothe. And then the chorus. So this is like the under. So this is pretty much like where I added. It's basically the almost the spin image, the same, except this one I actually did go and adjust like the delay and the reverb through Valhalla reverb and Valhalla delay. This one is a little bit more wet, so I was able to kind of tame it a little bit more, and then I did end up putting it a little bit wider, just to kind of create that fullness and make it sound a little bit bigger during the chorus. And yeah, these are the high pitch vocals. So this way they kind of like, it sounded, again, I'm just trying to make it sound full and sound bigger because it is a chorus. So I just added the higher octave vocals here, and then I added the some delays in there. Let's actually go here. So delays, and I added like more of like reverb on these two, just kind of give that emphasis on that new, or on that certain lyric. Here is the delay that I'm talking about. And again, that's just in the background. It's very subtle. I did at one point, I did have to go back and adjust this certain section. It was primarily the chorus. This is why you see version 21. So I had to keep going back and remixing the song just because of that. Yeah, and then during the drop, I have like almost like a breakdown in between chorus one and then the repetition of chorus two. And that was pretty much the same type of effect as a chorus. That one's pretty easy. And then same thing, dropped it back. All the same effects are on chorus one, part three. And I kept everything else the same on these other courses here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys learned something, or hope it was interesting to learn about this song. Again, I did get inspiration from Empire of the Sun, Mac Miller The Spins, or Empire of the Sun, Wiz Khalifa The Thrill. Go check it out. Let me know what you think. Peace.